sharing it right away. Are you guys able to see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Okay, first of all, thanks everyone for joining in. Today, so the agenda of the session is mainly to discuss the basically the high advanced strategies to improve your problem solving skills. Okay, mainly we will be focusing on the skills related to the software engineering life cycle. Okay, not the very specific, not in general. Okay, so how the DSA comes to the picture, then how we can enhance our skills to get placed in the multiple companies. Okay, so we will be restricting our agenda to have a concise format to crack the DSA interviews. Okay, starting from the smaller companies to the bigger MNCs. If we talk about, right, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Walmart, all these companies, right? So it's so we will be covering each and every aspect. Okay, and we will be trying to keep this session as interactive as possible. Okay, so I hope there is a chat window open for everybody. Okay, you can just keep typing the questions over there. Okay, I'll try to answer each and every question during the whole session, and even but if any questions if left over during the slides, and we will be having a detailed QA session in the ending of the course. So just be little patient with me. Okay, so I can assure you, so your all the questions will be answered. Okay, but yeah, just keep noting your question, just so that you don't forget it in the end. Okay, and just keep putting on the chat box. Okay. uh, okay, just to reconfirm, I hope am I audible? So some Varun is saying I'm not audible to him. So is it with everybody or just with Varun? Okay. Yeah, so Varun, you can maybe just check your refresh the browser once and check the audio settings. Okay, so first of all, so I'll tell you a bit about myself. So my name is Vivek. Okay, I'm a senior software engineer currently working with Walmart Global Tech. Okay, so I did my graduation from IIT BH Varanasi in computer science stream. So even before, so currently it's already been almost 4 years with Walmart. So I joined around 2019 over here. So yeah, so this is like one of the big MNCs since I throughout my career, which I joined around 4 years back. And yeah, so here, if on a high level, if I talk about my work, so I'm a backend engineer. Okay, okay. So my main expertise is around Java. So and to build a scalable system, right? Okay. And before joining to Walmart, so I worked for Ola Cabs. So Ola, everybody knows, right? So cab aggregator. So I worked there for almost 2.5 years. So there, you can say I started my career with that company. So there I build a few. I was part of driver payouts team. So our team was responsible to make the driver payments seamlessly on a daily basis. Okay, whenever all the rights aggregation we used to do. So even and yeah, so those this is about my career. Okay, and even and I did my internship with Amazon in my third year of my college. Okay, it was a short tenure, just a 2 months internship with Amazon Hyderabad. Okay, and in addition to that, so I'm also a freelancer. So this is one of the passions that I follow. So I really like to mentor the folks whoever is in needs. Okay, so even to give with to start with this thought. So I around 2 years back I started mentoring, and till now I have mentored more than 100 students, mainly through the Newton School platforms. Okay, so it is a different thing. So yeah, and I'm an active interviewer also. So during my free time, so I have tied up with multiple companies where I help them to hire folks okay, quality folks for their requirements. So mainly, I have interviewed more than 400 candidates in my past 3 years. So 90% of the clients I work for the US companies, okay, and few companies I have interviewed at in India also, okay, and I am active interviewer panel in my current organization as well. Okay, so that's pretty much about me. Okay, so before jumping to the next agenda, okay, so if I would like to know little bit about you guys, if you can just put it in the chat box about your current experience, okay, and what companies are you targeting, and what is your preparation status, okay. So if you can just have these three numbers in the chat box, so that will help me to understand you guys better. So what is our target audience that have joined, right? So yeah, just keep a single message having all the three information, so that it's easy to read out, right? Otherwise it will be, if it's scattered, then it will be difficult to know. Okay, okay, Ayush is saying he's a student. Okay, yeah, Ayush. Vishnu is focusing on the product-based companies. Okay, Anish is from third year to CSC student. Okay, Aman has a small service-based company experience for 6 months. Okay, then we have Lalit. Okay, yeah. I see most of the students, most of the folks here are either in the college or they are just starting out. Okay, their career. So okay, so Neha, hey, I am completed graduate. Neha is already graduated. Then we have Raju. Okay, Lalit. Okay. Anybody here? So who has already complete? Who is already working somewhere and planning to switch to the product-based company? So recently, I was talking to one of the folks. So he had the similar requirement. Okay, Abhilash is already okay. Abhilash and Likit, they are already working. Okay, great, great. So yeah, good to know you guys. So we'll quickly get started so that we can cover as much as possible. Okay, so the time is very less, so so that we can cover up all your questions as well. Okay. So so what the uh, process that we follow? So we'll be going through the high level things, okay, which is there I have prepared for this round. Okay, after each slide we will be taking a few QA questions, and then we will be moving to the next slide. Okay, and the leftover questions, which are not answered, we will be taking up in the end. Okay, so just be little patient with me. Okay, yeah. So now so the agenda of this session, okay, so first of all we will be covering up a bit around the problem solving skills. Okay, so what in the problem solving skills? So if we talk about the problem solving skills, it's a very broad topic, right? Everything cannot be covered, so we will be try to cover the high level aspects. Okay, so first of all, what are the these skills and how does it impact our career? Okay, then what are the few key steps that we can take to solve a problem? Then what are the steps to take to improve on our programming skills using the with the same the improve problem solving skills, right? Then we will be talking about a bit around the DSA. Okay, so DSA everybody knows, right? What is DSA? I don't have to explain you guys, I believe. So and so we will be talking about its importance. Okay, then how do we prepare DSA effectively for our interviews? Okay, and I'll be sharing few advanced strategies which I usually follow during, even I have learned during my 7 years of experience. Okay, so that's which strategies I follow when I have to interview the candidates, or I am looking to change the companies, right? I'll be sharing my job switch experience as well when I moved from Ola to Walmart. Then what are the preparation that I did, and what are the key steps I made sure that I cracked the interview. So we will be discussing all these about in the upcoming slides. Okay, then in the end we will be having a QA session, so where all your queries I'll try to answer. So yeah, we'll get started with the agenda now. So first of all, what are the problem solving skills? Okay, so in a very simpler terms, if I talk about, right, so it's uh, uh, I have kept the definition very simple. It's whatever the theoretical knowledge you have and whatever research, right, you can do or you should be doing to find a solution of a given problem. Okay, so all these skills can be we can put it under a single umbrella, which we can say, okay, these are the skills that you should possess to solve a given problem. Okay, so once, so this may or may not be your this the approach that you are taking to solve a problem may not be 100% correct, right? There is nothing correct and nothing wrong during a generic when we are solving a problem. So we have to test out it on a different scenarios and see how the users are adapting to our the product that we have made, or and just reiterate our problem statement, then again reiterate our algorithms, right, to basically evaluate how well our product is performing, right? So so problem solving skill is not just not it's more much more than telling a computer what to do, right? So it's not like, say, you are running for say two while loops, okay, and you are done with the problem. It's not just about that. It's more about your ability to come up with the right set of parameters to meet your goals. Okay, say, if to give you an example, so let's consider Google's autocomplete tool, right? When the Google autocomplete features kicked in for the first time. So first of all, first question should be coming to our mind. So why do we need it? Okay, what is our target goal for to basically build this tool to and to create this tool, right? So that would require your basically research knowledge, right? So you have to do the analysis what actually the users are looking for, right? So when the Google, so I was going through few articles about the Google's autocomplete. So what I could find out, so they were mainly looking to reduce the typing time of a user. Okay, and they were even successfully able to achieve it. So they reduced the users typing time by 25%. Okay, so on a daily basis, as per the studies, uh, on an average, so a user daily spend 200 years of their life time spent. So this research may be little old, okay, I may not be as per the latest trend, but yeah, that was the time. So this is where you have to put your research skills. Now coming to the technical point of view, so how does what does it take to solve this problem, right? So first of all, definitely, if you are building a tool, right, you need some UI to be shown. So you need to have the knowledge of front end technologies around over there, right? Next, so since users can just type anything, right? So it so your tool autocomplete suggestions had to be compiled into a sensible list of dependents on based on the user input, right? So once we have these two steps ready, then yeah, we just need a backend system, right? This should be scalable enough to handle all our requests and basically, and it would require definitely a massive infrastructure as well, right? So all these steps we can categorize into the smaller problem and then come up with a larger set of solutions, right? So and one more thing, so we have to make sure that our backend systems also a policy compliant, right? So say if you are doing some auto completion, right, you should not be end up showing some offensive word. So you already know the current trend, right? Even some, if a new tool comes up in the market and it starts giving some random answers, or the answers which are not expected by the tool, or it's offensive by a country, right? Being considered by the offensive. So some words may be offensive in India, may not be offensive in US. That may also happen. So all these criterias, we have to make sure that the tool should be able to adapt. So now, so once you like break down the problem, then stitch the problem, right, build a generic solution. So so it's I have given you just a high level idea, but it's much more, it takes you much more uh, to build it. Also we will be discussing how what are the steps to solve such a large ecosystem, okay, as well in the upcoming slides. So I'll be taking a pause for few minutes to answer if anybody has any question. Okay. Okay, Arunam, will it be enough for QA or be required to do? Sorry, what will it be enough even for OA or required to do code forces in terms of DSA? Arunam, what do you mean by OA? I Okay, online assessment. Okay, great. Uh, so so see, there are multiple things that you have to take care before preparing to the coding, basically for the interviews, right? So online assessment is just a part of it, okay? And there are multiple. So when a company is hiring for you, right? So the company will be evaluating on the multiple parameters given the experience that do you have, right? And what is the requirement they are looking for. So as per my experience, if I tell you, so from the freshers company do not expect much, okay? So the only expectation that the companies have is you should be a good you should be having a good problem solving skills along with the good knowledge of programming fundamentals. And okay, when I say the programming fundamentals, so you should be very proficient in one of the programming language, okay, along with the data structure and algorithm. So I have some content around that also. We'll be discussing during that slide. Okay. So Shrejin is saying which is better, full stack with Java or full stack is Python. Okay. So Shrejin, to answer your question, so it does to trust me, if you are a fresher or an experienced guy, it does not matter. Okay. If you are doing preferring your the primary language that you're preferring is Java or Python, it does not matter. It totally depends on the company's requirement. Okay. If you are there are tons of job available with both the streams. Okay. So if you are more comfortable doing the Java, so you can opt for that. If you are more comfortable with Python, so you are good to go with that. So your interview will never be around a specific language. So if you have a knowledge of any oops based language, so that should be more than enough. Okay. So Navya is asking what are the current opportunities through which we can get an internship or full time in Walmart. Okay. So, Navya, I'll be taking. So, this is something I think everybody must be waiting for. So, I'll be taking this question in the very end of the our slide. Okay, just remind me that time. Okay, and Vishnu is asking, is DSA enough to get job in the companies? Yes, if you have the strong data fundamentals, you have clarity of different concepts that we have, so it's more than enough to get you placed in a company, okay, given you are a fresher. Okay, so for freshers, it's if you know the any of the oops based programming language and along with the DSA is more than enough to crack an interview. Okay, so I'll be taking a pause. I'll be continuing to the next slide. So remaining questions maybe we will be taking up in the next upcoming slides. Okay. So now coming to the next part. So how does the problem solving skills, okay, impact our career? So let's see, most of the companies looks for the candidate with these skills. Okay, so now why do the company looks for these just the problem solving skills? So first of all, these skills help people to manage the work and to understand and the candidate to put more efforts into the work. Okay, which results in finding solution for the complex basically scenarios in unexpected situations. Okay, these skills also help to identify quick solutions when there is a need, okay, for a different product to be built. So if I talk about a software developer, say work on a wide range with the wide range of people and departments. So if you are joining a company, right, so there will be multiple departments and multiple uh, kind of people that you will be working on, and it's very common to discover that some client and the teams find it very difficult to define what they want. So even so this mainly will happen with the client based companies, okay, where okay, client will come to you and will say, okay, this is something that they want to build, but they may not have the clear picture what actually they want. Okay, so as a problem solver, it's up to you to help them identify, okay, what they need, and communicate their thoughts in an effective way. Okay, of course you will need time and the practice to develop your problem solving abilities, but that's because it's less about problem solving a problem faster, but it's more about coming with the best solution. Okay, so once we have a solution ready, then we can be deployed. So that's the reason. So uh, every other company will look for the candidate who possess the higher who has the good problem solving skills. Okay, so now I'll be let's talk about what are the different problem solving skills that we have, right? So these are the four high level criteria that we can divide. Okay, so I'll let's talk a bit about a bit around every all these skills. Okay, so first skills that everybody has to possess is the parallel thinking. Okay. So as a software engineer, it's the most crucial skills that you need to perform any task optimally. Okay, so this make it possible for you to carry out two different tasks that may be complement each other at the same time. Okay, so it's kind of an optimized form of multitasking skills that you already have. Okay, so and being able to reorder the task to boost parallel execution can help you improve your output, so and the save your time as well. So just never ever think that if you are solving a problem, right, so your mind should not always be towards solving that problem, right? And so there could be multiple other things that you may have to take care in parallel. Okay, you will never find a situation where you are just focusing on a single problem. Okay, so mostly in the MNC you will find that. Okay, so you should be that is the reason you should be able to think out uh, parallelly. Okay, so if I talk about from my experience, it totally depends from company to company. So in during my tenure at Ola, right, so I this skill was not required much at my level. So I was a senior, just SD1 over there, right? So so how the process works, so they just assign a task, then you have to get it done. But as you grow in the organization to the senior leadership positions, right, so you will not be working on a single task. Okay, currently say in my current organization Walmart, so I'm a senior software engineer. So my responsibility is not just to get just to complete a task, but to get multiple other tasks and help my team members also to make sure we deliver the quality works, right? So so if you are not able to think through parallelly, then definitely it will hamper your career, and maybe it will end up screwing your career as well. So okay, so always start and think however broad you can. Okay, so another is, so whenever you get a problem, right, so just don't think out, okay, how do you solve it. Just see what are the things that you can be applied for that problem. Okay, dissect it. So even what generally I have seen, right, even during my mentorship experience, what people do, so they see a problem and they start coding it as soon as they see it. It's a very wrong approach. Okay, so uh, so you should be focusing on the steps that have been defined uh, to achieve a solution. Say you are building a product. I give you an example of, say you are building an e-commerce website. Say if you just think, okay, you have to build a e-commerce website, you would say, okay, I have, how should I do that? And if you do not basically break it down into multiple components, then you will end up saying, okay, yeah, it's something that is not cup of my tea, I'll just leave it like that. Okay, so that will happen in 99% of the cases. So how do we approach it? So just think it, break it down in simple, smaller chunks, even in the real time world, right? So when we get a new product requirement during our experience, so uh, what generally happens? Okay, so we do not take up the complete requirement in one shot. Okay, we break it down and see what can we launch in the first go. Okay, that is we call it the MVP phase. So we build the bare minimum requirements to solve the problem. Okay, then first that we launch it, then we take the uh, more requirements on top of that, uh, in a sequential way. Okay, then we will be building the phase one, then phase two, phase three. That's how that every other organization work. Okay, so if launching everything in a one shot may not be possible. Okay, now the third skill set that everybody should possess is re-implementing the existing solution. Okay, so it's a very simple thing. If you don't always need to reinvent the wheel. Okay, part of being an effective software developer comes with the being able to use the already existing tools before even thinking to creating a new solution. Okay, so say whatever problem you are trying to solve, that must have already been solved by someone else. Okay, so why don't you reutilize it? Why don't you just instead of rewriting the code, so just think it about how do you enhance on top of that. Okay, so everything is available online. It's very easy to find if something you're trying to solve is already being done or you are trying to do. Okay, now the last step is abstraction. So basically it may so happen, right? So say you are building a product, you are building solving a problem as of today, say, okay, and tomorrow, so basically if you are building a product, so it maybe it will be either for your own company or maybe you are building for a client, right? So if you are building for a client and tomorrow the client comes and says, okay, they have come up with a new set of requirements, but this is something on top of that that was already you were building, right? So your product has to be in such a way that you should be able to accommodate the new requirements uh, in an effective way without without changing the complete architecture of your code. Okay, so that is the another layer you should be always think in a rightly manner to do not rework every time. Okay, so I'll be just taking one more slide. After that, we will be taking a pause for Q&A sessions. Okay. So now, what are the key steps to solve a problem? Okay. So I can bet you, I see most of the folks over here are freshers or either in students or looking for the jobs, right? So what the mistakes everybody does. So as I mentioned earlier, so as soon as we get a problem, so we start coding it. Okay, we code it, then we test it. Okay, we find it. Okay, this is something that is not working out. Okay, then we go into the debugging step. Then we just we reiterate through the problem. Okay, what is the problem asking? We analyze it. Then we try to change our algorithm. Then coming to the coding again, right? So this is something which you should stop doing it as if you are following it. Okay, just stop it immediately. So you should never be going to this particular path. So as soon as you receive a problem, first analyze the problem. So it does not matter. Okay, you say if there is a 1 hour of interview, right? So take 5 minutes to understand the problem and the requirement completely. Say if the problem itself is not clear, right? So you are gone over there only. So say you have taken just 30 seconds, you have read the problem, maybe you did not understand it. If you try to jump into the solution, then it will not work. Okay, it will create a negative impact on the interviewer's mind also. So analyze the problem thoroughly. Okay, this is something which I also emphasize during my mentorship experience. So there is nothing harm to read the question 4 times or 5 times also. Okay, during a contest or the online assessment that you are giving, there is nothing harm. Okay, if even after the 5 times you are not able to understand the what is the ask that problem is asking, then okay, leave it for the time being. Okay, that is something maybe you it's not meant for you at this point of time. Okay, there is nothing wrong in that, but don't leave the problem just after reading once. Just try to understand it. Okay, it may so happen that the problem is very simple, but just the language is difficult. It happens in most of the cases also, even when I interview, right, to the candidates. So in the first impression itself, you get to know the candidate more than 50%. Okay, what abilities that he is possessing. So if you want, just put a question which is uh, make you afraid after seeing it, but if you think about the solution, it's just a 2 line solution, right? So that's the reason. Just don't be afraid after seeing a problem, just analyze it properly. Okay, then once you have analyzed it, then the next step comes. Okay, now this is the problem that is being asked. Now uh, we have to develop an algorithm around it. Okay, everybody, I hope everybody knows what algorithm is. Okay, if you don't know what algorithm is, so in a plain English, it basically it is the sequence of steps that you can write to solve a problem. Okay, say uh, you are given a problem. Okay, and you have seen, okay, these are the 4 steps I follow, the problem will be solved. The steps could be in any language. It should be, it can be in the plain English also. So that is something we call it algorithm. So once we have come up with the algorithm, then come to the coding phase. Okay, so then it is the time to whatever steps that you have written uh, for developing the algorithm, just make convert it into the step of executions which computer can understand and give you the solution. Okay, so once that is done, then the last phase coming, testing and debugging. So it's more about validating your solution whether it's working on all the scenarios or not, right? If it's covering all the possible ask in the question, if there is any corner cases that is being left, or if you have to optimize the problem or not. Okay, say you have implemented a solution which runs in the maybe say linear time order of big of n time, right? But you may end up having the time limit exceeded, right? So that time you just need to identify in the testing and debugging phase. Then if the okay, you are getting that your time limit exceeded, then then something is there that you have to optimize, right? So just go through your algorithm again, see what is the scope of optimization. So maybe after linear time we can try for the logarithmic time complexity over there, right? So then we can go into the loop. So that's how the standard uh, process that we should be following for every problem. So this I call it Brahmastra. Okay, if you're deviating from this particular the steps, then you will end up either losing time, or you will maybe end up losing that particular interview. Okay, so and this model is you can enhance time to time. Okay, so if I talk about say a candidate who has maybe say 5 years of industry experience. Okay, and he or she wants to switch a job, right? Then it may so happen, okay, even for me also, and as soon as I see the problem, I start coding it. So that does not mean that I did not analyze the problem, or I did not develop the algorithm. So once you have enough exposure or enough practice, right, you do not have to write these things explicitly on a pen and paper, using a pen and paper, right? So these things are already there in back of your mind. So I read a problem, I know, okay, this problem I can use the 2 pointers. I already know the 2 pointers, so I start writing the code. So it is not always necessary to basically just you take a pen and paper, start writing. But for a fresher, it's a mandatory thing, because you are learning, right? You don't know how the stuff works, or maybe this is the first time you're solving a problem. So then just take a pen and paper, write down, okay, this is the problem that you are trying to solve, then develop the algorithm, write down the steps, then start coding it on the computer. Okay. So I'll be taking a pause for the questions if you guys have. Let me open the chat box. Okay, I'll be taking from the bottom to top. Okay, it's very difficult to go to the top. So Guru is asking how to identify which algorithm will take for solving a problem. Yeah, it's a really good question. Okay, see, nothing is magical. That after reading the problem, uh, if you have enough exposure to the data structure algorithms, if you have solved enough problems, okay, if you have practiced a lot, then this is something that you do not even have to think about how shall I identify. So there are fixed set of problem solving fundamentals or the techniques that generally that is being asked in the interview. Even I have prepared a slide where I have tried to list down all the possible strategies that you have to prepare. Okay, and so once you solve at least 5 or 10 questions around each strategies, right, so after a time you will find all the questions are more or like same. Okay, so it is just that, okay, maybe the question that you have solved, there were two parameters a and b. In the another question they have made four parameters. Okay, so if you guys are aware of this two pointers approach, right, so what is the standard problem that we have? So we try to basically you are given an array and you try to find a pair of elements in the given array with the target sum, right? So this is a standard problem everybody reads about when you prepare for the coding, basically start preparing for the DSA. Okay, now what the interviewer will do, instead of the pairs, he will ask, okay, find a triplet in the given array. Okay, find the quadruple in the given array. So this is how the extension works for a given problem. So if you have solved the earlier problem using the two pointers, then you don't even have to think about, okay, this is something which strategy should I apply. It will click directly to your mind. Okay, this is something that I have solved in the past, this is the strategy that I can try out. And it may so happen in the questions that you think, okay, you can solve it using this particular strategy, that may not work out when you run the code finally, right? So you may have to change the strategy also. So that comes with a practice, so there is no hard and fast rule for that. Okay, I'll be sharing you a list of what all strategies you should be taking care. Okay, I have a dedicated deck for the same. Okay, you will be seeing it after some time. Another is Rohan is asking, sir, should I learn SQL or no SQL? And in SQL there are many options, so which one should I learn? Okay, so Rohan, see, if you are a fresher, right? So totally say SQL, NoSQL, all these uh, the query languages is totally depends on company to company and interview to interview, right? If you are a fresher, so the expectation may not be much from you in terms of the complex queries that the companies uses. Okay, so it will be more around the basic database fundamentals that we have. So basically, how do we join the tables, how do we basically put the where clause, how do we filter out the tables, right? So the expectation won't be much from the company, so you should be focusing on just the basic stuff. Okay, so say just learn how to write the SQL query, how to write the select statements, then how do you join the tables, how do you filter out the filter out the data, right? So this should be more than enough to crack an interview if you are a fresher. Okay, the complexity may arise if you start applying for the domains of maybe the data analytics. Okay, data analytics is the domain in the software engineering where which mainly focuses on writing the query part. So so most of the time, say you are say spending 8 months in the company, so you will find yourself writing the queries for the 6 months itself, right? So that is the reason. So there the SQL plays a crucial role. So there you can expect even much more deeper questions from the interviewer. So it totally depends on for the role that you are applying. Okay, So, but for if you are applying for a front end developer or a back end developer, so basic should be more than enough. I hope that answers your question, Rohan. Okay. So Rohan has a follow-up question. So saying I applied for a few startups for backend round, they asked MongoDB. Okay. So this is something you should be, everybody should be aware of. So before applying to the any company, right? Just go through the job description of that particular company. If you are not doing that, you will end up having the situation which where the Rohan is in right now, right? So see what all things the company is looking for. So for few companies they are very very specific to the tech stacks that they work on. Okay, say I have a team, right? I need a person, so definitely I would put my criteria. Okay, I need a person who can work in Java. He should be having the knowledge of microservices. He should be knowing the Spring Boot. He should be having the knowledge of Kafka, right? All these are the primary skills that I will be looking for. So before applying the job, you should be looking at what are the expectation from the companies, and you should be preparing accordingly. Okay, so you should, so this is something is very specific to the startup that you have applied, Rohan. Okay, so if it is already there in the GD in their skill set they are looking for, definitely you can expect questions around it. Okay, there is nothing, it should not be coming as a surprise to you. Okay. Okay, Kunal is asking how much time should we give to solve a problem if we are not coming up with any solution? Okay, it's a really good question. Okay, I have seen, even I uh, tell you from my experience. Okay, when I was a fresher, right, during college time. So even I know few of the problems are very very complicated. I used to spend my whole day during just to solve a single problem, and it was very very frustrating experience to that. In the end up, you will be just have a thought. Okay, I have spent my whole day. I am not even able to solve a single problem. So it is something that if it's not a cup of my tea, or I should leave it, or what should I do? Okay, what are the steps that I should follow, right? So from the experience what I have learned, if you are not able to solve a problem, right, uh, then you just try maximum for an hour. Okay, not more than 1 hour. So if it's a hard problem, it's a different thing. For hard problem, criteria may be different, but I'm talking about 80% of the problem, which are the either you can categorize at the medium level or the easy level. Okay, so you should never spend more than 1 hour to any of the problems. If you are if it's taking more time, okay, so what you can do, just leave the problem for the time being. Okay, but it's I'm no, leave the problem. What I mean by that, just keep a note of this problem. This is something that you have to solve, but not at this particular moment, maybe later. And what all things that you have already tried, just keep a note of that also. Okay, now try that the same problem again the next day. So what happens, right? So by the time the next day you start solving the same problem again, so say you it's somewhere it will always be in the back the state of your mind that this is something that you were trying to solve and you were not able to come up with the solution. So during that, the remaining 23 hours gap that you have uh, taken between the solving the problem again, right? So your mind will be processing that problem somewhere you may not be aware of, and when you start solving it again, you may end up solving within 10 minutes, 15 minutes. This is what I have experienced myself. Even as of today also, I experienced these things. Okay, say if anybody asks me a question, right, it happened with me even during my this mentorship career. It may not click me immediately. Okay, then I went back home, I tried solving it. Maybe if it's hard problem, I may not be able to solve in the first go. So I give it a buffer time. So I say in the morning I have tried, I try it again in the night. Okay, and as soon as I sit in the night to solve the problem, I was able to solve within few minutes. That's how it happens. So do not spend more than 1 hour, so that is for sure. Okay, if it's a hard problem, you should give it some time. Maybe 1.5 hours should be more than enough for a given problem, but not more than that. Yeah, I'll take one last question. We are running out of time. Manoj is saying, I'm a third year student. I have practiced almost 500 plus on LeetCode and other coding platform. His on campus placement. Interviews generally ask standard DSA questions, which I am confident about. Okay, but during online assessment, they ask advanced DSA, including CP. So how can I prepare for it? Okay, so I think uh, you already have done more than enough. See, first of all, you should. Uh, if you have solved more than 500 plus lead code problem, then I don't think this is something that you should be in a state that if any online advanced DSA problem is coming, right, and during the online you are not able to solve it, then there is definitely something that you are missing up. Okay, over there something is missing, so I may not be able to understand completely during this session. Okay, so just okay, for this particular problem, I would recommend you can maybe connect with me on Preplaced. Okay, I think the team has already put a link to my profile. You can book a trial session with me, so we can discuss more about over there. Okay, so link is in the chat box. I think team has already given it. Okay, I'll be moving to the next slide. So we'll be taking another set of questions up, later. Okay. Now, basically, what are the key steps to so improve your problem solving skills in programming? Okay, so this is something which I have already covered somewhere during my previous slides. Okay, so first skill set that you have been you should be focusing on. So don't limit yourself to solve the problem when you are sitting on a computer screen, open day, any online platform, right? So don't just limit yourself to that. Rather, you should be focused on, okay, so throughout the day, whatever things you see, whatever problems that you see, right, how do you tackle it? Say you are going maybe you are visiting your market to get some vegetables, right? So and you see something is missing that should be improved as a process, or something should be there that should enhance your experience to purchase the vegetables, right? So just come up with the question, then think about how do you solve it. Say if you see, right, if you most of you have heard of 10 minutes grocery delivery service, which is happening, I think, in the top five, I think, tier one cities, in mainly in the Bangalore. So there are multiple players in the market as of today, which is making the 10 minutes grocery delivery, including Blinkit, Swiggy, Instamart, then we have Dunjo, right, we have Jepto. So how did they come up with such products, right? They, okay, they realized people want this. So say as a software engineer, I have a work from home, right? So I may not be able to go step outside every time to get my groceries delivered. Say I need a something right away, so they realize this problem, they come up with the solution and implemented it. Okay, so just don't restrict yourself, but think out whenever you are seeing seeing something is going wrong, how do you enhance it? Okay, now use different platform to solve the problem. So and say as someone mentioned earlier in the chat box, right, he has solved 500 plus lead code problems. I don't know what exactly he may be, he or she may be going wrong, but maybe just don't restrict yourself on a single platform. Try to have a variety of questions from different platforms. Say you have solved five say 100 plus problems from the lead code, just try out few problems from the spose or the code forces. Try just give one of the contests from the code chef, right? You will understand how the other platforms are also working. Okay, every platform has their pros and cons. So this is this session we may not be able to discuss the complete, but yeah, that is the high level idea. And another is, so be open to take assistance from the external sources. Okay, so part of being a good software developer comes with a comes with being able to ask for help and also accept all forms of feedback. Okay, you might need a different opinion or a new set of eyes to help find the most filling solution for the some problems. So it makes sense to view building problem solving skills as a more of a team efforts rather than a personal journey. Okay, so have an open mind, be open to the feedback. Say you have built a product and something is not working out for you, just ask out the people. Okay, if just use my product, see if this is something that is really solving our problem. If not, then how can we improve it? So that is a feedback loop that everybody in the industry follows. So they create a basic MVP, right? They take the feedback, enhance on top of that. So that's how we develop a successful product. Okay, so there is nothing shame or nothing wrong to ask the different feedbacks. Okay, it's good for you only, it's good for your product only. Someone is providing the constructive feedback, you should respect that. Okay, this is the feedback that you have got. Why did you get the feedbacks? What was the missing from your product? Okay, what is the steps that you should be taking to enhance your product during the next cycle? Okay, and the last but not the least, so apply the lessons whichever you have learned, right, from during your past mistakes or the past solutions that you have developed. So if you, I don't know if you guys are following the Shark Tank or not, right? In season one, I closely basic followed each and every piece that they used to give, right? So there was the this guy Ashnir Grover. So if you just go through his journey, right, he has created few multi-billion businesses over there, right? So what, where, why is he successful? So he's a very you can say down to earth guy. So whatever he does wrong, he speaks openly. Okay, this is something that he did which did not work out for him. So whenever he starts building a new product, he makes sure that he does not repeat the mistakes. Okay, so how do we do that? So basically we should always learn whatever we did wrong during our past experience and how we can make sure it does not repeat. Or say something you did really good, and say for example, I build one of the basic infrastructures in my Ola cabs. Okay, during my career over there. Okay, we had a similar problem in Walmart also. So I recommended it to the team and presented my use case. This is something that I already built. This is something that worked out over there, and this was the scale. Why why don't we try it out over it? And if you are able to convince with your experience, with the data set that you have, then it's easy to good to go, right? So you should always basically try to see what is the existing that you can apply to the given problem. Okay. So that's pretty much about the in general talking about the problem solving skills. So now we will be talking about the core data structures and algorithms, so which you should be focusing on during your interview preparation, right? So if I talk about so this is the one line I tell each of my mentee in during our first conversation. So DSA, how do we define a DSA? DSA is nothing but a ABCD of computer science. Say if you are talking to a 1-year-old child, right, and if you ask him to make the sentence, right, so you should first teach him how to write alphabets A, B, C, D, right? If he does not know the alphabets, how would you expect him to write a sentence? So it's very similar to the same hierarchy. If you want to write a code, you should be knowing the data structure and algorithm. Without DSA, you cannot write even a single line of code. Okay, if you're writing a code, so even in Java, right, you write system.out.println and hello world. So that also needs the data structures ability. So you whatever classes that you are using, system, right, then inside system you are using out, right, then again println. So everything is you under the hood is using some kind of a data structures which is may not be visible directly to you, but it's there. Okay, it's the that is what we call abstraction. So it is not directly visible to you, but it's there already. Okay, and why do company generally focus on the data structures and algorithm skills? I think I I saw somewhere someone asking this question also, but if not, yeah, I'll answer. Would like to give a few minutes to that also, that as well. So, see, every company has other domains, right? Say Walmart works for the e-commerce business. My Ola used to work for this a cab aggregation, right? So if I talk about then this Blinkit or Zepto, they work on the 10 minutes basically delivery system. All the systems are different, right? Every other system needs a different tech stacks to be built, different problems to be solved, right? But one thing remains the same: your ability to solve a problem and how quickly or how efficiently you build a system such that it is scalable to the millions of the users. Say today, as of today, your app is working for the 100 users, right? You are able to deliver. But how about if more than 1000 users download your app? Your app should be able to handle that much of load, right? So that's where the main skill set comes. Why do we need the backend engineer? So basically this is we would be requiring the strong fundamentals of data structures and algorithms. Why? How do we write an optimized code? Say someone has written a code with two while loops, so how do we convert it to the while loop? Or maybe how do we make it the logarithmic type, right? So there the strong fundamentals comes to the picture. And every company, it is the basic thing that if you are good at the DSA, there is a bet, 90% bet on you that you will be good at all other skills as well. You should be able to adapt in the company. If you're lacking somewhere, right, then that is something is a red flag for you. Will be judged by the company, so they may not be able to proceed with you, right? So that is the reason everybody asks data structure and algorithm, so that they can evaluate you whether you know the basics or not, right? So I have listed down few topics which is mandatory before you are appearing for an interview. Okay, so just if I would emphasize, if you are not covering all the topics, but cover at least few of it. Okay, and at least solve one problem from each of the topics. You should be knowing, say if I talk about the queues, right? You should know queue is a FIFO, right? First in first out. If I talk about maps, you should be knowing, okay, why do we need a map? Why? What? So how does a hash map works internally in Java? So this is one of my favorite questions that I generally ask from in the interview. If I am interviewing a candidate, okay, who has maybe some experience, maybe more than 2 years, right? So this is something. If I am interviewing for the Java profile, this is something I ask. Okay, explain me how does a hash map works internally in Java. So you should be knowing, not from the peripheral, but you should be knowing in depth how does these data structures work internally, right? So if I talk about uh, on a high level, the real-time application. So why do we need these DSA? Okay, say if let's take an example of stack. So can anybody think of a data structure, or maybe can anybody think of a scenario where the stack is being used in the real world? uh, Real world examples that the tools you are using on a daily basis. Anybody? I'll just take a pause for 10 seconds if anybody can answer in the chat box. Chrome browser, yes, we use stack over there. Not exactly the stack, maybe Neha, we maybe some other use cases you maybe you're talking about. Yeah, but yes, stack is there. Yes, reels. You see the reels, right? Instagram reels, Facebook reels. We use that. Another, okay, I give you another example, which is my favorite, the undo operation, right? Say you're writing something on the notepad. Okay, so you have written something, so you want to undo, right? So what is stack? Stack is last in first out, right? So if you want to undo something, so it is something you are expecting, which is you have inserted just now, you should be able to remove it. So that is called a undo operation. So that is where the stack is being used. Now if we talk about queue, right? Queue, you can think it as an maybe IRCTC website, right? So when you are booking a ticket, so there will be a queue handling all your requests, right? If I talk about linked list, okay, you know the browsers, right? Google Chrome, maybe you are using a different tabs. So we go to the next tab and the previous tab. So what is that? It's nothing but a linked list. So from a given tab I can either go to the left tab or the right tab, right? So that's how the linked list also works. So it has a previous pointer and the next pointer. So that is where the linked list plays an important role. Then if we talk about graphs, I believe everybody should know it. Everybody should be using Facebook, right? And Facebook is something, the graph is a perfect example of the graph, or the LinkedIn is a perfect example of graphs. Okay, then trees. Uh, Talking about the trees, yeah, Windows. You have the Windows laptop, right, or the Mac, or whatever laptop you have. So you see the file hierarchy. You go into a folder, then inside the folder again you go into some other folder, and there is a list of files is being listed, right? So this is what nothing but the tree. If you try to think each of the folder structure as a node of the tree, and the corresponding the internal document another node of the tree, then it's nothing but it will the whole representation you can build it as a tree. Okay. So yeah, those are few examples. Yeah, there could be more, but yeah, we may not be able to discuss over here completely. But yeah, definitely, if you have more questions over, right, which I'm not covering it out over here, feel free to connect me over the pre-placed. Okay, just book a trial session with me. Okay, I'll be able to help you. Okay, and you guys can take a screenshot of this slide if you need. uh, After that I'll be moving now. Coming to the real part, how to prepare for DSA for in the interviews, right? So what is the uh, even approach that everybody follows? Even I used to follow the same approach when I was a fresher. There was not many of the folks were there to guide me. Even as of today, you guys are lucky enough that there are multiple platforms available, like Preplaced and all, where you can get mentors, and basically the where you can get the real taste of the industry from the industry folks who can share their experience, right? What are the right strategies? Can directly connect with the interviewers throughout the different platforms, where people can directly connect and share their how do they interview, what are the expectations that they have. Even uh, I also share what are the things I generally evaluate for the candidates when I'm interviewing, right? Even for the clients that I do. Okay, so those are the things we should be keeping in mind. So what everybody does, so they open the lead code and then start solving the questions of each of the topic, maybe say just 25 questions for each of the topic, right? So this is something may work. I think first of all you should be able to understand there is nothing right and wrong we talk about here. It comes with an experience. This is something may work for one of the students, may not work for the other. Okay, it totally depends. It is there is nothing black and white over here. Okay, anybody can argue, okay, this is something it's working out for him, so it's well and good. I will not counter that. So because this is something that was working for me maybe 7 years back when I was a fresher, but it may not work me with me for me as of today. Okay, so now now the main problem what I realize as of today with the previous strategy is there are more than 2000 problems on lead code. Okay, so how do I identify which one to solve? Okay, as or I'm very lazy guy. I do not want to solve many problems. Okay, I say if I'm changing the company, I am uh, like of a guy who just okay, I have solved 50 problems, I should be good to apply in the companies. Okay, so then how do I choose those 20 those 50 problems? Okay, so what is the biggest challenge that we see? The biggest challenge with lead code is its lack of organization. Okay, so it has a huge set of coding problems, and so we are not sure where to start or what to focus on. Okay, so another question that everybody may be thinking about uh, is there an adequate number of questions that one should go through before considering themselves prepared for the coding interview, right? So basically, we need to have a streamlined process to guide us or teaches us enough algorithmic techniques to feel confident for the interview. So I'll be suggesting few techniques that I have come up with from my personal experience. Okay, so one of the strategies, the first one, this will definitely work for a fresher, I can say, in 80% of the cases that I have seen during my mentorship experience. Okay, so what you can do, start solving the questions related to the same data structures. Okay, say you want to enhance your skills in arrays. Okay, go to lead code, go to the array section. Okay, start solving it. Says you have solved top 10 problems, then move to the linked list, solve 10 to top 10 problems. Like that you can cover each and every data structures. Okay, so this is something that can work for a fresher, may not work and for a person who already has some experience. So why does it, how does it make a difference? Because the experienced guy will already be knowing the basic stuff. So because we are already using all these things in on a day-to-day basis. I know array is something I am working on a daily basis. Every other day, if I have a new requirement, I have to define a list or an array or a linked list or a hash map, right? I do not need to go and practice. Okay, what are the syntax of the hash map? What are the, how do we iterate over the array? I do not need the practice for those problems. Okay, then what is a strategy that we could follow for the experienced folks? So this is something that I followed when I made a switch from my previous organization Ola to Walmart. Okay, so to be very frank, so I prepared for almost 1 month. Okay, during my switch, that 1 month was also not like, okay, I'm say focusing on this only. It was not like that. During my work in my additional time after coming back home, I used to prepare. So this is the strategy that I followed. So I took out the common coding patterns problem. Okay, for example, say I want to enhance my skills on the two pointers approach. So what I did, I searched for the problems which are related to the two pointers. I took out few problems out of it and solved it. Say for each of the sections, you do not need to require to solve more than 10 problems or more than 5 problems. Okay, approach. Then there is a topological sort, right? These are the few examples. So, so this will not only make the whole coding interview preparation process fun, but it is also a more organized way, right? If you see, so now the next question could come up, right? See, so there could be multiple coding patterns, right? How do you prepare for all of it, or is there a list of the coding patterns that we can utilize before appearing an interview? So yes, there is a list which I have tried to come up. Okay, from my experience. So this is a concise list that should be more than enough to for you to cover before appearing for an interview. Okay, so just solve 5 or 10 problems for each of it and you're good to go. Okay, you can take a screenshot if you need, but yeah. I'll be not discussing about these techniques, so that will be too much to discuss and it will be out of scope of this call. Okay, whole idea of this call is to give the high level idea and how it it will help you to prepare to make your interview experience or the journey of the preparation smoother. Okay, if you have any questions to discuss more related to these techniques or anything in general in your life or your how do you improve your skills, how do you if you maybe you are a person who is already working, you want to switch to some other company, or maybe you want to basically go target to the some product based companies, right? You can always connect with me over the Preplaced. So the link is already there in the chat box. You can just book a trial session and we can discuss more about it. So just don't hesitate to book a session. So it is meant for you guys only. Okay, just have a look when you are free or you are feeling so you need it. Even just a few days back, I was having a conversation with one of the folk uh, reach out to me over Preplaced only. So from his experience, what I learned, so he took a maybe wrong path during the COVID, right? So what he did, so he was already working for a, good company with a good salary, right? Then he switched the company during COVID times, and he went through a contractor role. So that's where he did the mistake. Now he's trapped so badly in those contracts and all. He's not able to switch the company. Okay, so don't make those mistakes. And uh, if you have any questions, there are industry experts to help you out, right? Why don't you take the second opinion? So there is nothing harm in that. If you do not have anything, and anybody in your known, in your family, right? So there are, over the internet there are multiple resources available. Just reach out to the industry experts, and take their help. Okay, there is nothing harm. Okay, I'll be taking a pause now. So I'll let's take up few questions from the audience. So Vishnu is asking, should we learn topic like DBMS, operating systems, and subjects for interview for the companies? Okay. See, Vishnu, you are a. Can you confirm one thing? You are a fresher or you are a working professional? Okay, you are a student. Okay. So if you are a student, then yes, you should be knowing all these things. See, there are two things. One is you should be knowing these DBMS and all, or you should be proficient in it. So I would say you do not need to be proficient in DBMS operating system. Okay, but at least you should have some level of understanding if an interviewer ask any questions around. Okay, so I'll tell you from my experience, personal experience. When I was I was interviewing during my own campus placement, right? I was in the fourth year, and there were a lot of companies were with to hire folks. So even I gave interview for Walmart that time also in my campus placement. Okay, so what happened with me exactly? So during my first round, right? So it was really good. They asked me few data dynamic programming problems, and since I was prepared enough, so I solved each and every problem. So and so what they did, so they immediately scheduled a second round for me. So they did not want to let me go. And what happened with me in the second round, it was quite surprising. So there was a very old guy sitting on a table. Okay, so he started okay, discussing just few simple things with me about my internship experience. Then he went to the software engineering core concepts, right? If you have heard of the what is the waterfall model, what is the agile method, right? And those things we studied in the second year during our coding. Even these topics are something which is nobody expect to ask in the interview, at least for the freshers. But I was being asked, and I had no clue around it. So there I got to know, okay, this is something will not work out for me. So this company is something, second round I will not be able to clear, right? So it may so happen in the interviews that something unexpected has come, or something unexpected questions that the interviewers are asked. Okay, so let it be, don't regret it. Okay, we are anyway, whenever we are preparing, we are just preparing for the 80% of the companies, not for the 100%. So for the 20% of the remaining companies which ask unexpected questions, so we at least keep a buffer in your mind. This is something which you already thought through, you are not. Okay, I never went back home and start reading the software engineering again, because nobody asked it. Okay, if one of the interviews asks, let it be. Okay, I cannot just put my again 15 days just to prepare the software engineering. Okay, I was confident I am prepared enough for the data structure and algorithm. So I then gave the interview for all, and I was able to crack it. Okay, so that's how it happens. So but you should be having the basic understanding. So that is more than enough. I hope that answers your question, Vishnu. Okay, so another question from Navya. Sir, please tell us about the opportunities in Walmart and how we can. So Navya will be taking this question in the end about the company specific. Okay. Any other question anybody has? So, Preeti is asking, what is your opinion on Algo Expert? So, what is Algo Expert? I don't know, Preeti. So, may not be able to comment if it's something, another technique or maybe platform. I don't know. To be very frank, I don't know what is it. Okay, it's a platform like LeetCode. So I don't. So Preeti, I may not be able to answer this question, this particular question, because I have not experienced this platform. This is something maybe have come up new. Okay. Then Manoj has a question. So I am a 2023 graduation placed in Accenture through on campus, and I don't know DSA. I am feeling like imposter. Any suggestions for me? So see, okay. Anyway, you are 2023 grad, right? So you already have a job. So why don't you start learning it? So uh, one way or another, if you are working in a software industry, you will need data structure and algorithm. Start learning it right away. Why? So I am not sure why are you even waiting till this point of time. So say there are multiple resources available. Just go through the YouTube or the Geeks for Geeks, Lead Code, start solving a problem, preparing for the interview, preparing for the basic fundamentals. So your maybe your target might not be getting a new company. I don't know if that is your target or not. If not, then it should be around for improving your basic fundamental skills. Okay. Yeah, so we'll be moving to the next slide. We'll take the remaining questions we will taking in the end. So we are just very close to the time. We are just 10 minutes left. Okay. So now the next question, next point. So, before appearing for the real interview, just uh, have some mock interviews, right? So mock interview should be as close as to the real interview. So if you have your friends who are also studying with the same skill set that you are doing, right? If you have any seniors you in your known, if you have any maybe relatives who are already working in the industry, take help from them. Okay. If you have nobody in the known, okay, then there are platforms available which can where you can seek help to schedule some mock interviews. Okay, so that you have enough confidence to before preparing to the real interviews, right? So maybe I have seen folks right, see, they are already really good at data structure and algorithms. Okay, even whenever I used to mentor them, so they were able to answer, because there was, when I am asking a question, there is no pressure from on them, right? Whether they are able to answer it or not, if anybody is judging on them. But on a real interview, there is a lot of pressure that comes to your mind. There are a lot of, say, from yourself, so from your family also, from your I don't know, here and their relative also, right? So therefore the people makes a mistake, even if they know it, they are not able to explain it. And now the next question is, how do you get away from this fear or the this type of a scenario which you could avoid during the real interview? So just have some dummy interviews, uh, have some mock interviews, right? And there are platforms available, even there are mentors available on the Preplaced also, there are other platform also. It's up to you, what do you choose. So even if you want me to help you with some mock interviews that I do for the candidates, right? So you can, I can help you with that also. You can just connect me over there. So I should be able to help you. Okay. And another important aspect your in your life, have a mentor in your life. Okay. So mentor, what do I mean by the mentor? Could be a technical person also, non-technical person also, right? It could be your father also, or maybe your brother also, right? So mentor is someone when you're feeling low in your life, right? He should be able to put you on a right path. So wherever you are deviating from. Okay, so that is the most important thing that you should be able to look out. If you are not able to find a mentor around you which is able to understand, so use the platforms available online. Okay, but have a mentor uh, to whom you can discuss anything. Okay, maybe it could be related to your the course you are doing, maybe it could be related to your studies, it could be related to your personal life, or it could be related to any under any understanding gap that you are having, any problems that you are facing in general with your life, right? So a mentor is someone who should be able to guide you, and choose a mentor wisely. Okay, don't after choosing a mentor, so just have some faith, right? So it may so happen that the if you are trying to uh, take a help from mentor from these platforms, right? Just give your mentor enough time to understand you better. Okay, so don't expect even from the day when the mentor will be able to help you 100%, right? So let him give some time to just explain what are the scenarios that you are facing. Let him come up with an approach, okay, that should help you with your life. Okay, so now just highlight these all these things. I think this slide I already covered in the previous discussion, so I'll just go through it quickly. So now, how do we actually prepare for the DSA interview? Okay, so first thing, you have already prepared for the generic problems, okay, which is through the lead code. And this is the second point you should be focusing on: prepare for the company specific problem. I think someone asked me earlier, right? His startup asked about MongoDB. So that's where you should be going through the first of all the JD of the company, and another is what are the current trending questions that the company is asking you. Okay, so you will get some insight. Okay, what is the current trend is going on? What is the company's expectation? So accordingly, you should be prepare yourself. Okay, and another thing, this is something which I have seen. Even not from the India's candidate, even from the US candidate. So they are good, candidates are good, okay, but they don't even know how to compute the time complexity and the space complexity in depth, right? And this is a very big red flag for everybody. Okay, for me at least. If even if you have wrote a code which is taking a logarithmic time, I mean, you don't know if how do you reach out to the logarithmic time or the linear time, right? He's not able to explain. So I reject that candidate as soon as I see this red flag. Okay, this is really important. So I don't know, problems can be remembered, or you can just okay, maybe you have seen this problem just 2 days back, you will be able to solve it during the interview. But how deeply you understand what are the core features or the core why did you take this particular approach, you are not able to explain, then it's there it's you're wasting your time, right? So focus on the time and the space complexity, okay, in depth. Okay, then another is, so whatever projects if you have worked in the past, go through it before appearing to the interview. Okay, so this exercise may not require with every interviewer, where every interview that you are appearing for, it's a one-time exercise. Okay, so just have all the questions answers ready, that the questions that could come up across the real interviews. Okay, so to give you an example, so during my internship experience, right, so Amazon asked me, okay, explain me the backtracking algorithm. Okay, so why did they ask the backtracking algorithm? Because I created a project, okay, small project around the Sudoku solve, so which I solved using the backtracking algorithm. So if you have written something in your project, then you should be expecting some cross questions. Okay, you should be prepared for that. Okay, and another strategy, so whenever an interviewer is asking you a question, to start with the brute force approach. I think this is a standard approach that everybody suggests. Okay, I'm just reiterating it. So start with a brute force approach, then go to the optimized approach. And so another thing, explain your approach clearly, okay, to the interviewer what they are thinking out, and think out loud. So this is another skill which most of the candidate lacks, right? Even if you know the solution, you should be able to communicate also, right? If you're not able to communicate, there is no point of knowing the solution. Your interviewer will directly reject you. Okay, so be very vocal, and be very communicative. Okay, whatever you are thinking, just think out loud. You let your interviewer also know you are thinking this, so that even if you're going in a wrong direction, so he will make sure that you do not deviate the do not deviate from the right path. Okay. So yeah, coming to my real interview experience. So mostly in detail, I have already given you what are how did I prepare and what questions were asked, right? So this is just a high level. So during my Amazon internship, there were two coding rounds that happened with me. Okay, followed by a hiring manager round. Then for when I appeared for the on-campus hiring. So there were two technical rounds, okay, coding plus problem solving, and another is followed by an HR round. So here, so in some of the interviews, HR round also plays a crucial role. Okay, given how strong you are, okay, if there are two candidates who equally performed well in the technical rounds, right, and but one candidate somewhere lagged in the during the HR discussion and another candidate excelled well the other round as well. So if there is a one single position, the preference will be given to the other guy, right? So do not take lightly to any of the round. So if I have seen taking people these rounds very lightly, okay, this is a HR round, I'll be able to crack. Don't do that. As a fresher, you should never be prepared for that. There are multiple resources available. What are the standard questions that generally HR ask? Just go through it. Even I was surprised during this the hiring manager round with me in Ola, right? Nobody takes 1 hour of HR round. So this that particular guy, he was okay, basically writing down each and every stuff which I was speaking about. He asked me a problem. So whatever suggestions that whatever suggestions I was giving, so he was taking a note of everything. I don't know what if it was a part of a process or it was his habit, but that made a difference for me. Okay, because I was prepared well. And during the Walmart, so it was something. So total 3 rounds of technical discussions happened with me. One coding round followed by a problem solving round and the design round. So during my time, the interview used to happen offline. So it was they called me to their office, and then in the same day they had all the rounds. Then the hiring manager round was just a formality, to be very frank. So I got a green flag in all the 3 rounds. So hiring manager was just an formality, and I was good to go. Okay. So now, how can I help to crack your interview? So I can help you in any way, whatever problems you are facing. I can be your mentor, your mock interviewer, or anything where you can start discussing from starting from the basic DSA or to basically how to enhance your problem solving skills. Okay, so we can have a resume building exercise also where I can help you guide how effectively you can make your resume, right? Even whenever I interview the candidate from the resume itself, I generally get to know, okay, what is the type of the candidate is. Okay, accordingly my questionnaire also changes. So making an effective resume is also a crucial part during your the interview journey experience. Okay, and if you have any other generic or specific query, just throw it out. I'm open to discuss. Okay, maybe we are over here, we are running out of time. You can always connect me over Preplaced. Okay, book a trial session. So that's pretty much I had set up for this round. So we can take a few questions from Q&A session now. Okay, so I'll be taking from bottom to top. Okay, so Vishnu Vardhan is asking how many questions we should solve in each topic. So Vishnu, it depends. If you are a fresher, right? So the approach which I mentioned earlier, solve, take the questions section by section. Okay, solve few questions from arrays and linked list, then stack, then queue, right? That approach may work for a fresher, right? But coming to the number of questions, so there is no limitation for the number of questions for a fresher. Okay, but at least solve 50 plus problems from each of the highly rated topics. Okay, now Samuel Macheri is asking, between C++, Java, Python, which programming language do you recommend to practice DSA, and one that is preferred by the most? Samuel, it's a good question. So first of all, just if your target is just to clear the interview, so it does not matter. You should be knowing just any of the OOPS based programming language. Okay, it could be Java also, C++ also, okay, or any OOPS based language. But yeah, coming very specific to your question, so if I have to give a suggestion, go for C++ or Java. Even if someone asks me to emphasize, okay sir, which will you will recommend, so given the current market trend, I will recommend you Java. Okay, so that is what I have seen. People, most of the companies is using it, but there could be counter question also. Few companies are using C++, also C sharp also. Say Microsoft is using C sharp, Google is using C++, right? Amazon is using Java. My Walmart is using Java. Even in Ola, so when I joined, they were using Ruby on Rails, but when I joined, the migration was going on. So we migrated the complete code base from Ruby to Java. Right? So Java is something which you can maybe place a good bet on. Okay. Manoj is asking, in your opinion, should you pursue a master's after completing your BTech and after gaining some experience? Uh, yeah, it depends. It's a tricky question. Uh, yeah, I have seen folks doing the masters just after the graduation, and I have seen folks doing the masters after gaining some experience. So there are pros and cons to both of it. Okay, so on a nutshell, if I talk about, so if you are doing taking do you're gaining some experience and doing a master, right? So what would be the advantage over there? So the advantage would be, first of all, you will be having some money in your pocket, which is earned by you. You do not have to ask your family members to support you during your studies. Another is, you since you have gained some industry experience, if you want to go for the US, right, for the masters, you will be having a better flexibility over there because the money is in your hand, right, and you will be capable enough to take a loan and go for the higher studies for the abroad, right? There will be, this is another pros. But coming to the just after the graduation, that is also a good option. I have seen folks going for the masters just after the graduation as well, but there, yeah, there is a dependency, but it may not help effectively, or you should be taking a decision wisely also. Say if you are from a tier 1, tier 2 or 3 college, and if you want to basically uh, uh, get a fire start in your career, right? So definitely doing a masters in a from a well tier 1 college, maybe from IITs or something, so it will help you fire start your career. So that is another approach. It totally depends on you how it totally is a person to person. Okay, if you have any further questions, so we can discuss, so you can connect me over the replaced for the book a trial session, so I can maybe have a more understanding about your role and what exactly you're looking for, so we can discuss. Okay, Aryan Dev is asking, please tell us about internship opportunities at Walmart. uh, See, uh, I'm very disappointed to tell you that the Walmart is not hiring as of today. Okay, where the hiring is stopped even since last August. Okay, since last August, I have not seen even a single person being hired in my organization. So it's very strict, right? So that is one of the reasons. Given the current market scenario, so Walmart did not lay off yet. Okay, not even a single person was forced to leave. Okay, so that is what the current situation is, but it's not hiring for the internship, even for the experienced candidate also. Even in my current team, almost 4 folks left since last August, and the positions have not been refilled because of this current market situation. Okay, another question. We'll take another just two more questions. Okay, since we are already running 10 minutes past the time. So, okay. Arunin is asking, sir, please suggest some free platform for mock interviews. So, uh, I don't know really. I really don't know if any platform is providing it or not. Okay, so uh, maybe I will not be able to answer your question. Sorry for that. Another question, I think. Navya Arora asked, please, sir, please tell us about opportunities in Walmart and how we can. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, currently the hiring, we are not hiring anybody. Okay. Samuel asked, kindly explain just one of the coding patterns as an example. I have scheduled a session with you. Yes, Samuel, if you have already scheduled a session, so yeah, we can discuss more about the expectation and all over there. Okay. So this for in this call we may not be able to cover it up. Okay, that is out of scope of the scope. So some guy A Sahu is asking for experienced person who is working in service based according to you. Are you still typing? A Sahu, I think your question is not complete. Okay, Vishnu is asking what kind of jobs we can apply after learning DSA. I mean, as a software development engineer, or there are any other domains that you can get job in after. See, in data structures, there are multiple streams available. Sorry, in software industry, there are multiple streams available. You can apply for the backend engineering. You can apply for the front end engineering, right? You can apply for the data analyst. Then there are you can apply for the data science, right, machine learning and all. So it totally depends on your interest, which domain you want to pursue your career for. So more experienced person who is working in service space, according to you, what is your opinion? Land into product base, what we take? See, if you want to switch, this is the exactly same scenario which I mentioned, right? Someone connected me over Preplaced. He had the same scenario. He was working in a service-based company, and he wanted to move it to the product base. Okay, so so it's totally on you. If you're comfortable on a service-based company, right, you can stay there. If you want to make a switch, right, uh, so starting preparing for the DSA is the first step. Okay, so just start preparing it. Then whatever fundamentals or whatever things I have already explained, right, you should be keeping in mind. So just think through all those uh, points before applying to the companies. Okay, that is the only suggestion I can give you. If you have any further questions, just you can connect with me over previous. Okay, guys. So I think I have pretty much taken all the questions. So still, if I'll be, I think it's 14:42. We will be ending up session in another 3 minutes. So still have any questions? So I'll wait for another 3 minutes. Just drop me the questions in the chat box. So after that, we are good to wind up. Yeah. If you guys don't have anything else, so yeah, we can wind up the session and yeah, feel free to drop off. And thank you so much, guys, for joining in, for listening me. Yeah, and feel free to connect with me. Okay, don't hesitate it. So the link is already there in the chat box, so you can connect with me over there. So I'll see. I'll try to open a few slots, more slots for you guys if you are interested. Okay. I think currently the slots are very limited. I have opened it, but if anybody wants more slots, so feel free to. Okay, if the slots get exhausted, just ping me over LinkedIn. Okay, I will try to see if I can accommodate your slots or not. But I'll try to as much as I can. I am posting my LinkedIn profile also in the chat box, so you can drop me a note if you're not able to book and the slots get exhausted. Okay, I have dropped my LinkedIn profile over the chat box. Okay, we'll take last question from Manoj. So, how easy is it to get into product-based companies if we start our career with a low package? See, okay, from my personal experience, it does not matter. Okay, uh, you start even with a 3 lakhs per annum of package, but you are uh, aggressive enough to study hard, do the hard work, right? I can assure you within 3 to 4 years, your salary can become more than 30 lakhs per annum. I can assure you that. I have seen folks who started with just 3 or 4 lakhs of salary and they are earning even more than 30, 40 lakhs as of today with just 4 or 5 years of experience. But you should be very, very eager to learn. You should be very, very eager to change the company. You should be able to do your hard work on a daily basis. Since your career started with a low salary, it will take some time for you to settle down, but once you settle down after 5 years, so it will not take any efforts from you to change company again. Okay, but you have to struggle, you have to put efforts during initial 3 to 4 years. And the one of the best thing which I would recommend, don't stick in a company for more than 1 year if you have started with a low salary. Okay, that's how your salary increases every year. Okay, you started with 3, you switch to a company after a year which offered you 6. Okay, then you apply for another company, you take the hike on the current 6, you will get 10, right? 10 to 15, then 15 to 25. So that's how the salary increases. So, and that is the reason it takes 4 to 5 years to reach to a threshold which you are deserving. Okay, but it would require a lot of patience from your side also, because 5 years is not a small time frame. So, but you can do it. Yes, Manoj, if you are staking, it's a very, very hard truth in the industry, software industry. If you are staking in a company for longer tenure, right, your salary will not increase that much. Okay, even if you get promotion, you cannot expect the 100% hike. That is not going to happen. So if you're starting with a low salary, you have to switch the companies every year. Okay, guys. So I think we are over, I think past 15 minutes also. Then yeah, we are good to wind up the sessions. So thank you so much everybody for joining in. Feel free to reach out to me over Preplaced and the LinkedIn profile. Okay, for any questions or queries you have. I hope I was able